Thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you for the invitation. It's really for me a great pleasure to be here today for many reasons. First of all, because it's my first, and I'm so sorry, it's a shame, I know it, but it's better to confess always. But my second point is that I'm very happy to be here to share with you some ideas and to have the opportunity maybe to create a link for the future. Because I think, and I strongly believe, that what you are doing here today can be of crucial importance for the future of the European integration and, first of all, of the European competitiveness. There are so many reasons why what you will discuss here can be of interest. I can tell you that, and I will start on that point, when we discuss about competitiveness at world level, we usually use Europe, China, and the US as main protagonists. But in reality, when we do so, it's a fake when we discuss about Europe, for a very simple reason. There are so many issues crucial for competitiveness where it is not Europe. Europe is just a geographical dimension, geographical description. And I'm here to say that. And I'm here exactly to say that if we want to be competitive, if we want to be at the world level, at the same level of competitiveness with China and the US, we have to integrate more on the main subjects. I tell you that immediately. The European Union is integrated, yes. There are many areas where it is integrated, and partially on research, this integration is very positive. But when I tell you that on the financial markets, we don't have the European Union. We have 27 financial markets. And if we have 27 financial markets, we don't have enough money, and the dimension for investments, even on research, are not enough. And the same on other issues that have a strong connection with research. Telecommunications, electronic telecommunications. We don't have one European market on that. We have 27 markets. I make the reference to the third main topic that is immediately linked, energy. We don't have Europe of energy. We have 27 single European markets on energy. If you want, I can continue. Defense. We know how important is defense for the US, for China, the investments on research. Do we have one Europe of defense? We have 27 Europe of defense. And the consequences of all these fragmentations are consequences in terms of lack of competitiveness and in terms of speed and complexity of what we are doing. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit tough on this point, but I think you asked me to be here to tell the truth. And the truth is that if we are not able to start with the integration of all these issues, it will be impossible to make this journey a success. This is why, Katharina, I strongly believe that this Hamburg Science Summit will be the first of a long sequence, and I will be more than happy if you invite me in 2033 for the 10th edition of the summit, trying to check if in these 10 years we are still lagging behind or we are at the same level of the US and China. We weren't lagging behind in the 80s and the 90s, and we are. Why? Because of the dimension. It is so clear. The dimension of the world has changed completely, and the fragmentation of Europe is still there. I can tell you that we were better in integrating our monetary policy rather than all the rest what we did. Today we have the euro. The euro is a success. We have a central bank. It is a success. We don't have a European Union of financial markets. We don't have a European Union for energy. We don't have a European Union for telecommunications. And the consequences of that are very complicated consequences. This is why, Thomas, I had this journey around Europe. And this journey for me was crucial for a global understanding on the main problems that we are having and the need to act and to act fast, not waste time. My conclusion in the report I presented to the European Council and to the European Commission is inertia means decline. And I completely share also the conclusions of Draghi's report on all these topics. So I want to be, after this introduction of the topic, I would like to be specific on 4 points that can be of interest of this conference and of your works. First action, that is in my report, the single market is known also as the market and the single market of the 4 freedoms. Freedom of movement of goods, capitals, persons, and services. When Jaques Delors launched the single market with Chancellor Kohl and President Mitterrand in the 80s, the idea of freedom, eliminating borders, creating a cross-border activity and initiative in Europe started from these 4 freedoms: goods, services, capitals, and persons. It is a quadripartition, very 20th century economy based. It is what we touch, what is tangible. In this quadripartition, there's no reference to what is today the center of everything in the economy and in the world. That is the intangible, the innovation, competences, skills, knowledge, research. It is not by chance that Jaques Delors himself, when he ended up his period, his 10 years that were the golden age of the European Union and the European Commission, in 95, he made a speech, and Maria Cristina Russo, who is here representing the Commission, told me about this speech, launching the idea of the 5th freedom, telling Jaques Delors at that time, my regret is that 4 freedoms are not enough for the world of tomorrow. We need the 5th freedom. And the 5th freedom, of course, is knowledge and innovation. And the need to have at constitutional level, so at treaty level, the presence of the 5th freedom in this Article 26 of the Lisbon Treaty, that is the foundation of the single market with the 4 freedoms, is one of the main proposals of my report. I don't propose a treaty change. I know very well treaty changes are very complicated politically. But there are articles in the Lisbon Treaty that can be connected to the Article 26, giving the 5th freedom the constitutional legitimacy. And I strongly hope that von der Leyen will take this 5th freedom as one of the flagships for the next Commission. And I urge you to discuss about it. In the next 5 years, this 5th freedom, innovation, knowledge, skills, they have to become the true push and the true boost for the future of the European integration. It's impossible to talk about competitiveness without the 5th freedom in place. Otherwise, competitiveness is just a topic on bureaucratic burdens or other things like that. Important to eliminate, yes, but we are in a situation in which we are lagging behind in a structural way with our competitors at world level. So the idea to work in that direction with the harmonization of cross-border data flow mechanisms, with all the way to work, for instance, enlarging all the Erasmus facilities. There are many ideas there. I don't want to mention it. You can find them. I have no time to go in depth, but you can find them in the report. But for instance, the idea to try to complete the shared network of computational resources and supercomputers the possibility to use Erasmus not only for university students, but for all the school students, not just for an elite with parents giving them the possibility to go abroad to study, but for all. First of all, for those who don't have this capacity to pay by their families these studies. The need to establish this fifth freedom is in boosting and enhancing one of the most important accomplishments in the last 5 years. That was the European Universities Initiative. That was a very good idea, good initiative, but peanuts in terms of money. And if we don't push enough there to create a circular network of European universities, that would be really very complicated to be successful. And this is why on this topic we have to create this flagship. I hope that von der Leyen will do so. There are some positive signals in that direction. The second action is that we can do whatever we want on that, but if we are not able to mobilize investments and private investments, we are gone. For a very simple reason. We have not enough in Europe capacity to create a single market on financial services. And if we are not able to create this single market of financial services, our savings, even our own savings, savings of the European savers, they are flying away. They are going to the US because the US market is more attractive, bigger. I can tell you that just NASDAQ alone is as big as the sum of all the stock exchanges we are in Europe, doubled. And that gives you the idea of what is happening, the difference. We are playing two different championships. Give you just one example. I don't know if you have in mind that each transactional digital payment we have here in our European ground among European consumers and European services, restaurants, hotel, whatever you think, is done with an American digital payment platform. You can choose which one of the three, but it's an American one. Can you imagine to ask the American consumers on their ground to say, okay, you pay, but with an European digital facility, sending to Europe your small fee, each payment you do. It is the sense of this difference. And the sense of this difference is because of the fragmentation and the dimension. And the example I'm presenting you on the very small, I would say, retail, daily activity is the same for the big investments. And the big investments are investments where, Thomas, you mentioned the journey I had. I can tell you that I was a little bit sad because in my journey, I met a lot of young startuppers. And I was used to meet these young startuppers in my country. And they told me, in my country, my dream is to leave my country and to go away, abroad, to invest and to try to. But I was very, very sad hearing many of these young startuppers in all European countries telling me exactly the same. I want to go in the US, because in the US, the financial investment on my idea is bigger. They don't have this idea of the stigma of the first failure. I can fail once, I can fail twice, but then I will be successful. In Europe, we have this idea that failure is a final stigma of your activity. And we know very well that also the big achievements on artificial intelligence or the new technologies, they need to have failures and to try again and to put a lot of money. Without that, it will be impossible. This is why the main purpose of the part of my report where I ask for the integration of financial services, creation of one supervisory European authority, as the central bank is doing on currency, and creating a strong united market is the only way to give boost to innovation in Europe, because innovation is driven by public money, but if we are not able to have also private investments, the difficulty is there. And I can tell you there are many other proposals. There's this idea of a EU deep tech stock exchange, a dedicated one. That is another big topic, absolutely necessary for what I think to boost innovation and to give energy, financial energy. The creation of a single financial services market is also decisive for another big issue that is crucial for innovation and research, that is the transition. And I want to be very clear on that too. The transition is a fantastic choice, it's a great decision, and we have to keep the purpose and we have to continue. But the main point is that we have to finance it. If we are not able to finance the transition, it will be very complicated to address the potential backlashes of the transition. Farmers, workers in the automotive industry, people with their houses, they need to be and the only way to be successful there is to create a savings and investments union that can be able to use both private and public money to boost and to finance the transition. And the need to finance the transition, in my view, is one of the main issues for the next years. Financing the transition is a three pillars: transition, green, social, and digital, is absolutely necessary. It will be the big topic for the next 10 years, and it is also part of Draghi's report. All these actions are necessary, third, to support the growth of EU firms. And the main topic here, you mentioned crossing borders. In reality, if you think a little bit, within the European Union, this term is a little bit incorrect, because we don't have borders within the European Union. We don't have borders, but we still have borders in our mind. And the borders are still there because it's so complicated to create mergers among companies with different flags, national flags within the European Union. But I would like to tell you one point, which is one of the topics where we, the Europeans, leaders at world level, is the aeronautic industry, where we are the leaders because we have one Airbus. Can you think a scenario on this industry with the Italian Airbus, the German Airbus, the Slovenian Airbus, the Portuguese Airbus? Boeing will win without any problem. We win because there's one Airbus. Of course, I'm not here telling that everything has to be gigantic in Europe. I think the greatest, I would say, image of Europe and what we like of Europe is the fantastic mix between big and small. And we like this mix. But the main problem is that the world of today needs a European big that has to be bigger than the one of yesterday. For a very simple reason, because our countries were the same, are the same of what they were in terms of people of 30 years ago, and the rest of the world has changed completely. I always remind to myself that Italy won more gold medals than China in '88. And today we know very well how it's going. And I say that this big difference is the reason why we have to boost in that direction, and how to support mergers and how to support this growth of EU firms. And my final point is that I mentioned it at the beginning, saying that it's not just that, but it's also that. Reducing bureaucratic hurdles is absolutely fundamental. There's a big engagement by the Commission and by President von der Leyen for the next 5 years. I think it's absolutely necessary. Can't tell you that in my report, I have no time to go in depth on that, but I would like just to mention one proposal I put in my report that can give you the idea of the creativity that is absolutely necessary, which is another reason why we are not taking advantage of our single market. Is the fact that in reality the single market exists, but we are still with 27 business laws, 27 fiscal systems, of course 24 languages. The fragmentation is there, and for an SME or for an international investor it's very complicated to come in a European Union where you have to move from one country to another, changing, for instance, business law. I know very well that it's impossible to ask countries to cancel their own business law to move to one single business law. Countries with business law in the 19th century and so on, we are all proud of our history. So the proposal is to create an optional 28th virtual state with his own business law, with the idea to give the possibility to firms to choose this one. And this one becomes a sort of passepartout, valid everywhere in Europe. It's a sort of European Delaware, if you allow me to use this term. So one business law, not on the fiscal aspect, but on the law system, giving you this passepartout without the need to change everywhere, every country, moving from Spain to Portugal, from Croatia to Slovenia, and being obliged to change, but having your passepartout. And I'm very happy because von der Leyen took this proposal and put this proposal there. I end up with a final point, that's the main experience of my journey. When I started my journey, just to give you the final idea of what does it mean, the lack of integration of the single market. When I started thinking exactly one year ago, in September last year, the journey around Europe to meet people and to understand how to write this report on the future of the single market, I started thinking that we go green. We are the smallest continent in the world, so I have to run my journey by high-speed train. As I do usually in my own country, I used to live in France for many years. TGV there is the normal way to connect the cities within the country, the same here, the same in Spain. And I immediately understood that within the European Union and within our countries, it's impossible to travel by high-speed train connecting capitals. There's only one, Brussels, Paris. If you go to China, you can travel, every city in China is connected, big city, by high-speed train, and not in Europe. Why? Not because we don't have the high-speed train. We do have the high-speed train, very well working within our countries, connecting the biggest cities within our countries and not connecting the capitals among them. Is it possible that the two capitals of the main two European countries are not connected by high-speed train? They are not in an island, Berlin and Paris, but they are not connected. So my point is that we live in a European Union where we have to recuperate fast. And the single market is our hidden gem. Also in the topics that are related of what will be the main issue of your conference today and what you will do in the next period. I strongly hope and I believe that your work, and thank you to the Körber-Stiftung and to all of you, to the state city of Hamburg and to all of you for this opportunity. We give great importance of what you will do, and I'm sure that in 2033 Europe is really be one day finally integrated. Thank you.